Integrate space research into everyday research on Earth, you know you're having the most impact on science.
One thing we're adding is a lot more information about commercial development in low Earth orbit that is leveraging the space station.
The space economy today is still emerging, but its valuation has doubled in the last 10 years, and there are more active participants in low Earth orbit than there have ever been. The International Space Station has contributed to the commercialization in a couple of different ways. First, with commercial resupply, encouraging companies to develop their own capabilities, and then those customers into the space market, but also they are allowing new entities to form that are learning the processes by which you conduct business in space.
Commercialization is key to the further exploration mission that NASA has. We intend to use space station to help commercial entities enter the market in low Earth orbit. And we also expect them to be able to provide goods and services that someday will help us in our exploration.
Scientists tend to ask, what's the next question? So the next question for Space Station is, what are we going to do next with this platform?
This is the golden age of research. We will likely never see such a strong microgravity science program in the future. We will have lots of human exploration, but to have a sustained laboratory in the way that we have now's the time.
This research is feeding our exploration goals beyond low Earth orbit and developing the companies that hope to make low Earth orbit part of their
Most of the children, they come here with waterborne disease.
So many children under 5 suffer from diarrheas.
They're complaining about the abdominal pain, skin rashes.
They get waterborne illness through drinking waters.
People have the idea that water quality is too hard to do in the field and it's too complicated.
Having to transport samples, having to have reliable electricity, having to heat samples or keep samples at certain temperatures or put them in refrigerators.
But probably the biggest challenge is actually the cost.
The price was really high, up to $300 a test.
So all those things come together to make it really difficult to use a traditional laboratory approach when you're testing water. What's been missing is the really simple, cheap On the space station, we recycle almost all the water that the astronauts drink, and that constitutes a risk because if that water became contaminated, the astronauts would have to abandon the space station in the worst case scenario. What we needed on the space station was something that was small, easy to transport, and didn't require a lot of training for the astronauts. We developed a water test kit that was really easy to use and used off-the-shelf components, and we called that the Microbial Water Analysis Kit, or MWAC. It's basically sample, store it overnight, and read it the next day. It worked great, and it's still in use today. This was when we realized we had a chance to make a difference in the world using the same technology that was used by NASA, but applied in a remote area of a developing country.
We started MWater for the biggest health crisis on the planet, which is a lack of safe water. The test kit is revolutionary because of its cost. It lowers the cost of testing water points from hundreds of dollars to about $5.
Global database of water information that everybody can contribute to and share with others.
So what that meant was people who before didn't have a feasible and affordable way to test water suddenly had the means to know which water sources around them were safe.
It's made people much more aware of the issues of water quality. That's a very powerful thing.
And that's all due to technology that we've borrowed from the International Space Station. So now
through that technology, most of the citizens in Mwanza have an increased awareness regarding the kind of water they use and whether it causes them any waterborne illnesses or not.
People are now treating their water and avoiding sources of water which could be contaminated. I've seen a growing awareness.
It is very unusual for technology that is used in international space stations to be used in developing countries like Tanzania, but it can be used, and it should be used because
the International Space Station is the most unique laboratory that exists. There are things that you can learn, things that you can do in space that you just can't do on the Earth.
Space station really provides an opportunity to explore, for example, say medical applications.
The aging and the osteoporosis and muscle wasting conditions are greatly accelerated in microgravity.
Understanding those phenomena allow us to look at how we can improve treatment of disease.
But it's not just drug companies that can benefit from experiments or research in space, but it's a host of industries across the board.
But it wasn't always easy to get there.
Historically, access to space was limited to companies and corporations which were selected by the government, and what we lost was the true creativity of so many innovative smaller companies that really didn't understand how to get to space.
When we were doing the reauthorization of NASA, we wanted to expand the opportunities to different areas of experimentation and also different entities.
Recognizing the untapped potential for commercial access to space, in 2005, Congress declared the U.S. portion of the International Space Station a national laboratory.
Essentially, it opened up opportunities for research that could be done on the space station that would benefit us here on Earth.
Everyday companies and everyday researchers and everyday people can think about using the space station. That's a fundamental change. Everyday people can think about using the space station. That's a fundamental change that was never allowed before.
Today, we offer opportunities to the researcher that never existed before.
Whether it be seed funding to help support the actual project,
To access to experts to create hardware,
that rocket ride up, the on-station time with the astronaut as your lab technician, what we're doing is really making it as easy as possible for people here on Earth to do space-based research without becoming space.
a very unusual and important asset in space. The ISS National Lab has space versions of hardware that you can often find in laboratories here on the ground.
Everything from even animal habitats,
plant growth chambers,
freezers,
3D printers,
Earth observation windows,
incubators,
furnaces,
to centrifuges,
microscopes.
The list goes